Awesome, there we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniils, and I come from this wonderful company called Platogo. Yes, we do use Sentry a lot. It's really nice for like 3 or 4 different languages. So I think it's really quite flexible. I can recommend. And today I'm speaking here for the first time. So I want to tell you about SvelteKit and PWAs and like an actual practical project that I did with it. So not just like small hobby stuff with one user. So a little bit about me. I did a lot of things. So I mostly do web development now, like I guess most of you here. I also have some experience in design and some project management stuff. And on the daily, I work with multiple languages, like you see here. And in my free time, I go to a lot of conventions and travel a lot and do photography stuff. So it's pretty natural that I want to build a website or something like that and show my work. And I don't want to pay for a Squarespace. So and it's way more fun when you can build this yourself, right? And yeah, a bit more about my like technical background. So initially, I started off as a backend developer, so I didn't really dive really deep into the front-end stack beyond really simple, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I tried React for a few small projects, but nothing on a really massive scale or anything like that. But I did have to learn TypeScript eventually, against my will. And I first encountered SvelteKit and Svelte when SvelteKit was nearing 1.0. And that's where I decided that I want to actually invest time into it because it became pretty stable and mature. And since we already started talking about why we chose Svelte and SvelteKit is because, as I told you, I come from a very like backend focused background, and Svelte had a really nice learning curve, like at least for me, because you didn't have to learn JSX, even though it's fine. The reactivity was way easier to understand. You didn't have to learn a completely new markup language like you need to do usually with other frameworks and other languages. Take, for example, I don't know, Go templates or the Python Jinja templating thing, or ERB in Ruby, or HAML, God forbid. And in Svelte, you really just need to know HTML, you just need to know CSS, and you need to know JavaScript or TypeScript. It's up to you. And the TypeScript integration, if you use it, is also really nice. So I'll talk about that a bit later. So I'll give you a bit of background about the project I'm going to talk to you about today. I'll need to set up a lot of context. So I told you I go to a lot of conventions, mostly anime conventions during the year. And this year I went to Dokumi. It's Germany's largest anime in Japan expo. This year it was the biggest it's ever been. And this year I was helping out with our own booth there. And yeah, a bit more about the convention. It's pretty old. It's been going on for about a decade, and it's largely a very community convention. So it started off with like 10 people that gathered in a park one day, and then it became this 100,000 person thing. And yeah, this is our booth, which was completely a fan-based project. So we raised the money ourselves. We gathered all the stuff you see here from many different people, even outside of Europe. So it was a completely crowdsourced thing based on volunteers. And to tell you a bit more, like what the hell is Hololive? In a very short nutshell, it's a virtual YouTuber agency. So again, I need to explain what is a VTuber. A VTuber is just a virtual YouTuber that stream the game on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. And Hololive is just one of the many agencies that exist now that have a lot of these entertainers under their blankets and management. And as you could probably tell, if I'm part of a Hololive fan booth, I probably belong to this fandom. I guess that's pretty obvious. And one of the ideas for this year that we want to do is to do a stamp rally. So what is a stamp rally? So usually at each convention like this, there is an artist alley where people can go and sell their art or self-made merchandise, and people go there to support their artists that they like and also buy something nice. And usually they come together and form a stamp rally, so people need to go to a certain set of artists and buy something from them, or just visit them and take a photo and collect all of the stamps, and then they get some kind of prize, right? Very simple. And last year we actually did something like this, but on paper. So this year I thought, it's 2023. We have, this amazing technology. Let's try and make it digital, right? Because when things are digital, you have way more flexibility and you can do way more interesting stuff. And we had a few requirements. So first of all, offline first. Conventions, they're under a huge metal roof, which is basically like a giant Faraday cage. So you can't really rely on there being any sort of network. It has to be fast and lightweight because people have different phones. They won't have the latest iPhone 15. They might have some ancient Android 5 device, so you need to account for that as well. And if you're building something like this, you also want a good developer experience, right? Because someone has to actually work on this and build this, and they also need to be able to do things very, very quickly. And let's see. So offline, PWA is built exactly for these kind of circumstances because it's a web app that works completely offline if you wanted to. Fast and lightweight, Svelte, exactly right up our alley. And developer experience also with Svelte was really great. It's met that requirement as well. And how would this digital stamp rally actually work? So first you open the app and you do some kind of basic registration, right? Then the person participating in the rally needs to actually find the participants. So in our case, they have, let's say, 8 or 10 artists that they need to visit, and they need to find them at the convention. Then they need to scan some kind of QR codes. QR codes, they're super universal. It's the easiest way to really do some kind of digital collection thing. And in the end, they need to get a prize, right? Very simple. And yeah, on the left was actually my inspiration. So last year I went to Anime NYC in New York, and they also had like a stamp rally thing in their official app. But as you can see, it's like super, super basic. It just had like 5 stamps, and you had to scan like 5 QR codes in a few different places at the convention. So it was really, really basic. But the idea was kind of born there. And so how do we actually go around collecting these stamps? It's really quite simple. You want to obviously make sure people don't cheat easily. Then that's not really fun. So you can't really just bake in the stamp codes that you expect into the app, because then people can just data mine the app. And especially if you have it on GitHub, you can just open the source code and see like, oh, I expect these codes. I just need to generate my own QR code, scan it, and boom, I'm done. But you can do something extremely simple. You can just create your QR code tokens. You can run them through a hashing function. You can put them in the app, and then when someone scans your stamp, they just do a really basic hash check, right? It's not rocket science. And yeah, the features that I want to do was obviously make this QR scanner work. That was a bit harder than I thought, because again, you need to deal with many different devices. You want to find out, information about each vendor or artist that's participating in the rally. And I also thought, since we have an app, why not add, real-time events? Like what sort of real-time events? So let's say someone finds a stamp and they scan it. Like it would be cool if everyone else who's participating in the stamp rally also sees that someone found a stamp, in real time. Then I thought, since we're adding like these online features, let's make a leaderboard, Then I thought, okay, if they just complete the stamp rally and get their prize, that's kind of boring. Let's also add like a slot game in the end. So don't do what I did. Don't do feature creep, but I had a few spare days to do this, so I thought, why not? And this is what I ended up with. So this is how the stamp sheet actually looks like. So I want to make it look like it's actually made kind of out of paper, if that makes sense. And you can press on any of the stamps and you can see where to find the artist. This is the bonus game that I made. So this also has another cool feature I added where people can choose their own nickname, but if they don't choose one, they get a randomly generated one. And how does it generate the random nickname? It actually takes a random adjective and the name of the, what's it called? Like the fan name of a person who's a fan of a specific streamer. And then you combine them together and you get like a clean Takodachi or like a sad owl or something like that. And I added a feature where people get random member and then they can explore their channel and see some clips from their channel. So it's a good way for people to actually explore different streamers that they might not be familiar with. And yeah, we got the leaderboard working just in time. There is like a really funny bug that happened, but I'll tell you later. And that's like what our printouts looked like that we handed out to the artists themselves. And that's like the basic architecture.